Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach, Wamalak Yahushai. Double honor to elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Yahushai. Our heart is Shalom to you, mighty men that go out there and labor and do the work of the Most High, presenting your body as a living sacrifice and doing all things for the elect's sake, pushing this truth and magnifying the ministry. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there as of yet on the highways and byways, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying. They're fasting. They're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there. Again, and shalom to the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters out there holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive, being diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. This WFI late nights, 12:16 on the East Coast, end time Q&A. So this is a Q&A, and our job is to open up the books and reveal knowledge and wisdom and understanding to our brethren and to our people, man. Right? Let's go to the book of St. Mark. Right? And this is a Q&A. So any brother or sister that has questions, right? You sisters that are married, you're supposed to learn of your husband at home. But anybody that has questions, feel free to ask the questions. And most I willing, we can go into it, man. Right? And break it down precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Now this St. Mark chapter 6 and verse, I will start at 35. It reads, "And when the day was now far spent, his disciples came unto him and said, This is a desert place, and now the time is far past." Now the Lord said that was a desert place, speaking physically about the terrain that they were in while Yahushua preached. But even on a spiritual level, this is a desert place, right? This is a thirsty land. There's no living water. You understand? There's no springs of wisdom. There's no fountains of knowledge. Right, this is a dry land full of ravenous wild beasts, serpents, dragons, and all manner of violent creatures. Right, and the time is far past. Right, verse 30. "Send them away that they may go into the country round about and into the villages to buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat." Right, he literally told them to do that. Right, Salaki. So let me get in this question. Right before I go on, I want to tackle these questions before I continue. All right, so the first question from Aaron Smith: can you break down Matthew chapter 5, verse 43 and 44? All right, let's go into it. Right, Matthew chapter 5, 43 and 44. It reads, "Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust." So this is a verse that Christians completely take out of context, not understanding that we have enemies of our own people who we were taught not only we were taught to deal with in a specific manner. Right? Now the Lord said, love your enemy, meaning the enemy of your own nation, the enemy of your own people, right? And I'll get a precept on that. Let's go to Exodus chapter 23, right? Let's go to Exodus, the 23rd chapter, and read about your own people being your enemy, right? Which is nothing new, right? That goes back to the law. This Exodus chapter 23 and verse 4. "If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again." So you might have been a brother that lived in Judah with your family lot in inheritance, and maybe 20,000 damn feet from you or 2,000 feet from you was another brother, and you saw his ox kind of just let loose and damn bust through the barn or whatever the case may be. Now you're obligated. Now y'all may not be friends. You don't have to be friends with everybody, right? Not everybody was buddy and holding hands. And hey, look, you might have been at odds with a guy, you know, and his son might have stole from you in the ancient world, and maybe one of his oxes might have killed one of your wives, or maybe he fell into a ditch that he didn't cover up and digged, or anything could have happened. He might have lied to you, and he might have been your enemy. Now you probably ignored that guy when you probably didn't salute him. You know, a lot of people, you'll throw up curses on him. Now the Lord said you can't do that. Even if you see his ass going astray, and you have to return it to him again, even though y'all are enemies. And these are two fellow Israelites, because we know the law was given to our people plainly. Right? Let's go to the book of Micah. Right? So loving your enemy is dealing with the enemy of your own people. And the sooner our people realize that, the less they'll stop cooning, shucking and jiving, gyrating, twerking, and loving the damn enemy, man. When I say the enemy, I'm speaking about the so-called white man, right? Because they'll think that loving your enemy automatically equates to the man that's rape, robbing, and murdering you, instead of the person that you're at odds with over the smallest reason. Right? Let's go to the book of Micah. Right? This is the book of Micah, chapter 7, and verse, let's see, Micah 7 and 6. It reads, "The son dishonoreth the father, and the daughter riseth up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are the men of his own house." So your enemies can be people of your own house. You can be in this truth, and your mother could be in the world. And now y'all are enemies, right? She doesn't like you keeping the new moon. You don't like her cooking pork in the morning. And you might have a brother, so-called, in the world who's constantly smoking weed, right? Being a nigga. And now guess what? You in this truth, and you try to say, hey, look, you can't do that. He say, shut up. And he blow the damn smoke in your face. Now y'all are enemies. Y'all used to be cool. You grew up together. And, you have a lot of memories and a lot of good times together. But now you come into this truth, and Yahweh Shah is separating you from the world. So now you have enemies of your own people. There's nothing hard to believe that, Jake, you when you come into this truth and you open up the Bible, now it's something strange for you to think that your enemy can be your own people. When you just got into a fight with your brother over some Jordans, damn, 3 years ago in the world, man. And y'all were enemies. These drive-bys, the high murder rate in these inner cities, the high crime rate, damn robbery. You understand? All of that is a clear sign. It's like a clear sign to show that, yes, the enemy of the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man is a fellow so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. Right? And you're commanded not only to deal with them, but to love them. Right? Love your enemy, meaning the people of your own nation who you're at odds with. Right? So let's move on. Right? Let's move on. Next question from HBKN. Does Luke 5 and 13 prove animals are more spiritually aware than men? Right? Let's deal with it. Does Luke 5 and 13 prove that animals are more spiritually aware than men? Right? This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 5 and 13. It reads, "And he put forth his hands," right? I believe you might want, right? Let's see if you want Mark, right? I believe you want Mark 5. Yeah, Mark 5 and 13. That's what you want, right? This Mark 5 and 13. "And forthwith Yahushua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. And the herd ran violently down the street, a steep place into the sea, and they were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea." Yeah, because the swine are naturally unclean, right? That's why the demons dwell in unclean vessels, right? When you're unclean by reason of, it can be ceremonially unclean. It can be unclean by reason of some presumptuous evil behavior. You're more susceptible for demons to dwell in your tabernacle, just like any house, right? Remember, this is your earthly house. In any house that's filthy, trash everywhere, open food, containers, don't be surprised if roaches and rats love dwelling there. It shouldn't be strange if you walk in a house You see that they got the TV show Hoarders, right, on A&E, and you got these people whose trash is 3 feet knee deep high in the house, man. The floor is collapsing. It's old cat feces, and you see rats, roaches, mice, and we're not surprised when we see that. So why should you be surprised that unclean spirits love dwelling in unclean vessels? Right? There's nothing strange about that. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 12. That's why they decided to go into the swine. Matthew, and there's plenty of domesticated animals in the land of Israel at the time. You had sheep, cattle, so like oxen, goats, but they decided to go into the swine. You know, this Mark, it's like in Matthew chapter 12 and verse 43. Right, quick precept on that. Matthew chapter 12 and 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Now the unclean spirit can leave a man through repenting. Now he's walking through dry places. He's looking for a place to dwell at, right? To call his home. Demons, they need a home. Like anybody needs a home. These demons are walking through and to and fro through the earth, looking for somebody to inhabit, looking for their next victim, like a roaring lion, as it is written, right? It reads, then he said, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. So the demon will leave a man, but know that man is not really sincere about his repentance, right? He's vacant. He's not occupied with the fire. He's not occupied with Yahweh Shai. The Lord did not make his dwelling in him. So it's empty. So the demon that's unclean, he'll go back into that unclean house and take 7 more spirits, right? Then goeth he and taketh with him 7 other spirits. So it's 8, meaning an infinite amount of demons, more wicked than himself. And they enter in and dwell there. And the state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. So the point is, these unclean spirits, they dwell in unclean vessels. So back in Mark, that's why they decided to go into the swine. Now the thing about the swine is, a lot of these creatures, and this kind of link up with the brother's question, right? The brother asked, are animals more spiritually aware than men? I wouldn't say they're more spiritually aware than men, but you do have creatures who understand the spiritual side of things. And I'm not talking about the law. I'm speaking about the presence of the Most High. When you read about Psalms chapter 104, 20 on down, you read about even the young lions seek their meat from God. You know? So you have creatures who, the animals know about the Most High. You understand? They know about the Lord, man. Now these creatures, these swines, why did they kill themselves? Right? Because these demons that was on Legion was going to be on him until he died. Right? To kill him. That's why demons are on people. Demons aren't on you to have fun. They're there to kill you. You know, people that die and damn from opioid overdose, crack overdose. Damn, what's another demon? Depression, and they commit suicide. Those are demons on them till they die, and they drive you to harm yourself and kill yourself. And once you're dead, the demon has done his job. So demons are sent to cause you to sin, that the Most High can judge you for your sin and die. Now the swine, they weren't given a law, but they knew that they had demons on them. Now the only way to get these, they can't repent, they can't fast. The demons drove them to death, and that's why they kind of jumped off the damn thing and killed themselves, man. You know, because they're a naturally unclean creature. Now, like the brother was saying, certain animals, they're more inclined into the will of the Most High. Like cats still know when it's about to be an earthquake. Dogs will bark before it's like a tornado. Certain creatures, they actually have they're more inclined to the earth and the will of the Most High than man. Man is more preoccupied and his leisure and the state of this world. Right? But the point is, these unclean spirits decided to dwell in an unclean vessel. All right. Judges, next question from Sadak Ladakor. Judges chapter 5 and 24. How was Jael blessed above all if she was a heathen, or if she wasn't, she married a heathen? Let's deal with it. Right? This is the book of Judges, chapter 5 and verse 24. Right? And it reads, Judges 5 and 24. Now this is the song of Barak and Deborah, right? But as you read on, we'll read about Jael, who actually cut down this man, right, in a fierce way. Judges chapter 5 and 24. Blessed above women shall Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, be. Blessed shall she be above women in the tent, right? So she is blessed, but this isn't this is more of a hyperbole, right? An exaggeration. She's not literally blessed above the daughters of Zion, but she was blessed for her actions, right? At that time, she was blessed above the woman, because during the time of Judges, when you read chapter 21 and 25, everybody did what they wanted to do, right? This Judges chapter 21 and 25. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. So she's being praised for what? Defeating the enemy. And the Kenites dwelt amongst the Israelites. So they even were blessed, right? You have certain heathen who the Most High will, for lack of better terms, he'll give them titles that are flattering, right? He'll call Cyrus his anointed in the book of Isaiah, right? His chosen, his servant, his shepherd, right? These are different titles given to the heathen. That doesn't make them Israelites, right? And being blessed doesn't equate to receiving salvation, right? Because the promises of salvation were only made to Israel pursuant to Romans chapter 9, 3, 4, and many other precepts. All right, from Malak Yahawada, I gotta go back. Right, Salakia. Okay, Malak Yahawada. Will weapons be wise to have during these times? Also, Shalom. With Shalom. And what I did a cold cut on this. Right, I did a cold cut called Bug Out Bags. I believe I titled it Bug Out Bags, Doomsday Preppers, and it was something else added to the end of the title, but that was pretty much addressed. Now I want to go to the book of Luke. Right, let's go to Luke and deal with it. All right, let's go to St. Luke. Now, like I always tell brothers, it's not evil, it's not wicked, right, to have a weapon. You understand? But guess what? We're not going to put our trust or our strength in that. All right? We're not going to do that, man. Right? Bear with me. Let me get this precept real quick. And then you have brothers who said, "Okay, I know I'm gonna be all right during the time of Jacob's trouble, right? Because I have a sword and I have a gun, right?" I want to get this precept in the book of Luke, chapter 22 and 36. It reads, "Then said he unto them, but now he that hath the purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one." Now, brothers still take that verse and they'll go crazy, right? They'll go to the gun range on a Sabbath day. They have a whole plethora and an armory of guns and all types of magazines and ammunition and points and all types of stuff. Damn grenades, C4s, right? That's off, man. Now, it's not off that. I'll take that. It's not off to have weapons, but if you put your trust in those weapons to deliver you, now you're compromising your faith in Yahweh Yahushua, and you're more leaning towards the left-hand side of putting your faith in man-made material instead of the spirit of Yahweh Yahushua that made man. And you never want to go down that route. That's why the Lord told Peter, "All they that take up the sword shall perish with the sword," man. Right, let's get that. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 26, and verse 50. Let's see. Matthew chapter 26 and 52. Right? Then said Yahweh to him, put up again thy sword into its place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So if you take hold on the sword, expecting to stop the destruction or your lot or whatever the case may be, you're gonna perish with the sword. Meaning you can't get in an arms battle with your enemy and expect to win. You're gonna end up dying. You're gonna die in a shootout. You got people saying they're gonna get into a shootout with the so-called white man if it comes down to it. Now, if you get shot in battle with a sword, with a gun, which is your modern day sword, hey, well, that is what it is. But we're not looking to get shot by a damn Edomite, man, in Jacob's trouble in a shootout. We're not taking up the sword to perish with the sword. We're taking up faith and to be delivered by faith. Right? Now let's go to Proverbs 21 and 31. Right? Like I said, it's not a sin to have one, but we're not going to put our trust in that. We're going to put our trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Right? A lot of brothers, you want to be practical, and there's nothing wrong with being practical, but you also want to have equity, right? And establish some form of just balance where your faith is implemented as well. And really, your faith should override your trust in weapons. Proverbs chapter 22 and 31. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. So that's plain. So the horse is for battle. Everybody knows that. But the safety of that horse is going to be determined by the Most High. All right. So next question. HBK Int, was the Lord not dealing with Moses' two sons because the mother was a heathen? They aren't really mentioned. Well, the Lord deals with everybody. I'll say it like this. The Lord deals with everybody on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. Great creatures and wild beasts and the smallest creeping things. The Lord deals with everything because they're all his creation. Now, when you say dealing with in terms of exalting and putting in some form of promotion or some form of excellency, no, they're not really mentioned to be exalted, right? Now, let's go to this real quick, right? Let's go to the book of Exodus, and we'll deal with Moses' sons, right? Let's get this. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 18 and verse 2. I'll start at 1. Exodus chapter 18 and 2. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, and her two sons, of which the name of the one was Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eleazar, for the Most High, my father, said he was mine help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. So those are Moses' sons, Eleazar and Gershom. Now, you don't read too much about Gershom, and it's not because their mother was a heathen, because you have prominent men in the Bible whose foremothers are heathen. David's mother, David's grandmother on his paternal side is Ruth, right? Or really on his father's Jesse, Obed, then you have Ruth, and you have all these different men, right? Boaz and Ruth. Now, on David's side, you had a heathen, but that doesn't take away from David's bloodline. He's still an Israelite at the end of the day. Rahab the harlot is mentioned in Yahushua's bloodline in Matthew the 1st chapter, and Rahab the harlot was a Canaanite, right? So everybody's not. You don't have to be a mighty man, and your son doesn't have to be a mighty man. That's not how it works. Just because you're a mighty man doesn't mean your sons are going to be mighty men. You have sons that are fools, sons that are evil, right? Look at Eli's sons. Look at Samuel's sons, right? You have men that are men of renown, but their sons are off. Look at Hezekiah. He was a mighty man, and his son Manasseh was evil, right? So just because a brother is exalted by Yahweh Yahushua, right, the son, he has to perform their own works to be able to reach and attain to that same level of the father, right? So we can move on. Luke 3 and 35. Is this the Sirach that is in the Apocrypha? Right? Luke chapter 3 and 35. Is this the Sirach that is in the Apocrypha? So this is the book of St. Luke, chapter 3 and 35. Let's deal with it. It reads, which was the son of Saruk, which was the son of Ragu, which was the son of Phalek, which was the son of Eber, which was the son of Selah. No, now what you want to go to is you want to go to Genesis, the 11th chapter, and read about these bloodlines. From Eber, where it says Heber, right? But, you'll go back into it and you'll see it's Eber and Peleg and Ragu and Sarug. That's really Sarug, but it says Saruk, right? Those are two different names. Let's get that in Genesis. So Luke 3 is pretty much a backwards genealogy of Yahweh Shah's father-in-law side, right? So Mary's father's side, or Joseph's father-in-law, right? But let's get that in Genesis chapter 11, right? Let's get that. Let's go to Genesis chapter 11 and verse 16. And Eber, now when it says Eber in Genesis 11 and 16, that's Heber and Luke the 3rd chapter, right? Now that's where you get the word Hebrew from, which is in the Hebrew or the Lashon Kodash, Ibar, or you wouldn't even be wrong if you said Ibar Yah, right? So it says which means from the past. And Eber lived 34 years and begot Peleg. And Eber and Peleg in the Hebrew is Pelag, which means division, right? Because he lived in the time of the scattering of the nations and confounding of the languages of the Tower of Babel. So, and Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. It's the entire genealogy of Abraham's forefathers, the sons of God. And Reu lived 230 years and begot Sarug. That Sarug is the Saruk or Saruk that you read about in Luke the 3rd chapter, right? The spelling's just a little bit different. All right, next question from Itzeli. How did the Romans come into power? Did the Greeks birth them? So let's go to Sirach 5 and 15. I'll get this quick precept and then go into the history, right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 5 and 15, right? The Lord said, and that's a good question. That's why the Lord said this, right? This Ecclesiastes Chapter 5 and 15. Be not ignorant in anything, in a great matter or a small. So knowing history is important because the Romans, right, Salaki, let me make sure I'm looking at the question. The Romans really started with the Roman kingdom, right? The Roman kingdom really is around the 8th century, like 752 BC. And then the Roman kingdom became the Roman Republic, right? And after the Roman Republic, it transitioned to the Roman Empire. So you had a time period when the Romans and the Greeks were both in power at the same time. Now, the Greeks really had power of the known world before the Romans. And you can read that in First Maccabees. When you read First Maccabees, the 8th chapter, First Maccabees, the 12th chapter, you'll read about the Romans during the time of the Greeks. Now, let's get that in First Maccabees 8. The Romans came into power by defeating local so-called Italian tribes in Italy, right? They defeated the Etruscans, which were Japhites. So the Edomites went up in that land and they destroyed the Samnites, the Etruscans, the Umbrians, and all of these other Japhetic tribes that were in Italy at the time. And they eventually became the Roman Republic. And they became a power, right? Now, with them being a power, they took down Carthage. They took down these different Spain. They took down all of these different kingdoms. And I'm summing it up for sake of time. If you want to look more into it on your own, you want to go into the history, you want to dive into it, hey, feel free. But I'm just summing it up to answer the brother question because there's not too many precepts to go into how the Romans defeating the Greeks. Now I can go to First Maccabees 8. I can go to First Maccabees 12. I can go to Daniel the 2nd chapter. I can go to Daniel the 7th chapter, right? You can even go to the beginning of 2nd Esdras. So the Romans, again, transitioned from the Roman Republic. And the latter end of the Roman Republic, you had Julius Caesar, right? You had Julius Caesar crashes in Pompeii, which was the Roman triumvirate, right? Now, the triumvirate was a three-head monster, for lack of better terms, when these three men took over the Roman Republic. But out of that became your first dictator, which was Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, again, had a great nephew named Octavian. He's the first leader or emperor, right? And they crowned him with the title Augustus, which means emperor or king, for lack of better terms. Now, in 146 BC, even before Julius Caesar, the Roman Republic defeated the Greeks and something called the Roman Macedonian Wars. And that's something you can look up. You had a 4-part war called the Roman Macedonian Wars, right? Let's pull that up. Right? Roman Macedonian Wars. Or they'll call it, some scholars, they'll call it the Macedonian Wars, right? See that? So here's your Macedonian Wars. This is how the Romans eventually came into power. And the war lasted from 214 BC to 148 BC. So the Macedonian Wars were a series of conflicts fought by the Roman Republic against its Greek allies in the Eastern Mediterranean against several different major Greek kingdoms. They resulted in Roman control or influence over Greece and the rest of the Eastern Mediterranean basin, in addition to the hegemony and the Western Mediterranean after the Punic Wars. Traditionally, the Macedonian Wars include the 4 wars with Macedonia, in addition to 1 war with the Seleucid Empire, and the final minor war with the Achaean League, which is often considered to be the final stage in the First Macedonian War. Now, there's a beautiful documentary, right, on Kings and Generals, which is one of my favorite YouTube sites, where they actually go into the Roman Macedonian Wars, right? And it was, I believe it's over 2 hours, right? When you check it out, I'll have to find it. Here it is. So this is a beautiful documentary, right? It's called The Roman Conquest of Greece, right? And it's about 2 hours and 6 minutes, man. And they go into great detail how the Roman Republic took down the Greeks. So if you want to check that out, brother, that'll help you understand how you had these 2 Edomite kingdoms at the same time, right? Because you had the Greeks who went up into Macedon, really, and they came out of the Argead dynasty. Alexander the Great, yeah, he was a king, but he had kings before him out of the Argead dynasty. Now, that could be an in-depth breakdown within itself. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because I can go into that history deeply, but just for sake of time, the Romans took down the Greeks in 146 BC. All right. You had the Roman Republic and the Argead dynasty, and then eventually you had the Greek Empire who came into power, and then they kind of fell by the Roman Republic. All right. So, like I said, that could be an in-depth breakdown on its own. And I may cover that. I'm doing a Daniel 11 series on the Cold Cuts channel. I know it's suspended right now, but once that Cold Cuts channel is back up and running, we'll eventually get to the point in Daniel 11 chapter when the Greeks are dealing with the Romans, right? So just be patient for that. Next question, Sadak Ladakor. Is this Nebuchadnezzar the first? It's like, is this Nebuchadnezzar in 1 Ezra 1 and 40? All right, let's deal with it. Is this Nebuchadnezzar and 1 Ezra 1 and 40? It reads, wherefore against him Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, came up and bound him with the chain of brass and carried him into Babylon. Yeah, that's the same Nebuchadnezzar. It's just spelled a different way. That's Nebuchadnezzar II. From Miss Judah, can a widow or a single sister get the kingdom without a head or a husband? Yeah, a woman can get the kingdom without a head and without a husband, but you have a better chance of making it with the head because that's scripture, right? That's where we have scriptures like Isaiah chapter 32, 1 on down, Isaiah chapter 4 and 1, 1 Corinthians 11, right? You need a head. But I want to get this precept right. Now, if you're just a single sister and the Most High doesn't give you a husband, and it's just your lot, you still, of course, you can make it. But if you're a sister with the mentality of I don't need a husband, you understand? Even Ruth, learn from Ruth and Naomi, right? They know that you need a husband. You need the inheritance. You need a protection. You need a covering, right? But if you have the mentality of being an independent black woman in the truth, hey, guess what? More than likely, your mind not right, and you're not fit for the kingdom, right? But nevertheless, a woman that's not married, of course, can still inherit the kingdom. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31:7, right? Jeremiah 31:7. For thus saith the Lord, sing with the gladness of Jacob, for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Lord, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. And you have a woman that was like Mary Magdalene. There's no account of her being married. Salaki, and plenty of other sisters, man. There's no account of a lot of women being married, but these are still righteous women. Judith wasn't married. She was a widow. So, of course, you're going to have women that aren't married is going to make it to the kingdom. Esther was married to a heathen. Does that mean that she's not going to make it? No, she's definitely going to make it, But let's read on. Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, I will gather them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together, a great company shall return thither. So you're going to have pregnant women, single sisters, women with children, right? Women, in late, all types of women are going to make it in this thing, right? Yes, women are going to make it without a husband and without a head. But you also have to remember the woman was made for the man. So if I'm a plant and I was made to dwell in the sun, hey, I'm going to go find out where the sun is so I can survive. Because I was made to be in the sun. I wasn't made to be in some dark, damn basement, right? Plants that dwell in dark basements die. They may flourish for a time. Yeah, they'll be alive and they may live for a few days, but eventually they're going to die, right? Because they wasn't created to be alone and dwell in darkness. They were created to receive the light of the sun, and that's why they dwell in the sun. So if a woman was made for man, a woman should want to have a man because she was made for the man. You understand? The Lord said, let's get this in Sirach chapter 36. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 36 and 25. I'll start at 24. Sirach 36 and 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. So this is a just balance. Where no hedge is, a hedge is protection from a husband. So if you have a garden and a possession with precious flowers in it, if you don't build a fence around it, people can break into that garden, wild beasts can come in, and they will spoil your possession. So your possession has to be protected by a hedge. If a wife is a possession, it has to have a hedge of protection around it, which is the husband. Now, if you don't have a hedge, the possession is going to be spoiled. That's why a lot of women, look at Eve. Yeah, she was married, but she left her hedge and went to do her own thing and got spoiled, right? By doctrine and philosophy. And now we all dead. Now you have funerals, right? So the point is, a woman needs a husband. That's scripture, right? Otherwise, she'll be spoiled. Now, the Most High can have mercy on a woman and have her kind of make it out of here. But you don't want to tempt the Most High and be a sister that say, I don't need a man. I can do it all by myself. That's not biblical, right? That's the American black woman. You're not an American black woman or a Mexican or a damn Hispanic, man. Northern Kingdom. Let's get this precept in Isaiah chapter 32, right? Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 1. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So a man is going to be like a hiding place. Women that have a man of the Lord, and they'll fare well. That's what the Lord says, 7 women, and women know that. Women know they need a man. I ain't gonna play around and act like I don't need a man. Hey, they're happier when they have a man, right? In the spirit. Now that's what the Lord said. 7 women are going to take hold of one man. You're not going to take hold of another woman. You're not going to take a hold of money. You're going to be looking for the men of the Lord. Because it's in a spirit to look for the man of the Lord. You know? That's why women, we don't have to go into a whole breakdown on women, right? But that's the answer to the question. Right? So let's move on. Right? Then damn, I almost went into a whole breakdown on Eve, man. All right. Next question. Will we have knowledge of our past lives in the kingdom? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 65. All right. Will we have knowledge of our past lives in the kingdom? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 17. It reads, for behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. So if you're a janitor, you're not going to be 1,000 years in the kingdom and still remembering that damn sink that you didn't fix when you was in damn LA. You're not going to be thinking about that, right? You're not going to be in a kingdom sitting on a throne ruling over 10 cities, and you forgot about that parking ticket that you didn't pay in 1998, right? You're not going to remember these things. The Lord is going to put in your heart to move past these things with the mentality of getting the earth back in order, right? That's plain. Let's move on. Okay, next question from Sadak Ladakor. What was the name of the European guy that called King James gay 18 years after he passed? That's damn man, what's the guy's name? William Sir Anthony I believe it's Anthony Weldon, right? I believe his name is Sir Anthony, right? Sir Anthony Weldon. Yep, Sir Anthony Weldon, that's his name. And he looked grimy. He looked like a Jake too. Looked like one of those, you know? He's the one that wrote that King James. That's why when we were out there in the highways and byways, that's Sir Anthony Weldon. People say King James was gay. He was a homosexual. All of that was slander written. Let's go to Sirach 19-15 by Sir Anthony Weldon, which was a contemporary of King James, right? But let's get this in Sirach chapter 19. If you want to read more about that guy, you can on your own. Sirach 19-15. Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale. So you just can't believe something just because somebody said it, man. Right? You got to kind of see it for yourself in this thing. This Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 4. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. So you don't want to give heed to false lips, because that makes you wicked. And then it makes you a liar, being dishonest, because you're listening to intel or listening to communication that has not been substantiated out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses over hardcore facts and evidence. So you'll be a liar, you'll be evil. So you got people who kind of just believe this guy, you know? So his name is Sir Anthony Weldon. Okay, from Itzelli, who all can read your thoughts, and do that mean that Satan hear your prayers? Right? So the Most High hears your thoughts. He forms the thoughts in man. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra, right? Chapter 16. Right? So the Most High hears your thoughts, and the Lord can have anybody be held accountable for the thoughts that you think. And the Lord said the thoughts of foolishness is sin in Proverbs chapter 24 and 9. Right? But this second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 63. Right? It reads, surely he knoweth your inventions and what ye think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin. Therefore hath the Lord exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame. So the Lord searched out all your works, and the Most High knows your thoughts. Right? Now, Satan can disrupt your thoughts, and Satan can even, I'll say, answer your prayers. Now, the Most High is going to get to say so, but if you bow down to Satan, and guess what? The Lord gave him the green light to answer your prayers and your thoughts. Satan can only do what the Most High allows him to do. So if the Most High allows Satan to answer your prayers and your thoughts, you got people praying for success, praying for record deals, movie contracts, and in their prayers, they'll say, I'll do whatever I have to do. Please just make me famous. Please make me a celebrity. Give me a red carpet. Give me the record deal. I want to be the next up and coming damn artist. I want to be on the top billboards. I want my name paved in gold. And they throwing these prayers up to the Most High. And guess what? The Lord's going to say, you see that, Satan? Answer that guy's prayers. And then Satan is going to give you over to your own desire and to the destruction of your ways. Well, let's get that in Luke chapter 4. Right? So the Lord hears all of the prayers, but he gives the green light to Satan to either cause confusion, disrupt your prayers, or even give you what you want out of your prayers. All right, let's go to Luke, the 4th chapter. All right, I want to prove that. Right, just St. Luke chapter 4 and verse 5. Right, so like you bear with me. Let's go to St. Luke chapter 4 and 5, and we're going to prove it. Right, St. Luke chapter 4 and 5, it reads, and the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in the moment of time. And so the devil showed Yahushua all of the great kingdoms of the earth. Rather, that's Babylon the Great, China, damn, the UK, whatever. In a moment of time, just like that. It reads, and the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. If thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine. So Satan told him, if you worship me, hey, guess what? I'll give you everything you want. I'll answer all of your deepest, darkest desires. You want woman? I'll give you woman. You want fame? Hey, you'll have the most fame that you ever desire. You want gold? You want cars? You want wealth? Hey, I'll give you these things. You got people sitting there praying, I want to make it. I want to be famous. I want money. I want to be next. I'm the best rapper. I'm the best athlete. And Most High's up there, Satan. That's why it says Luke, in Luke chapter 4, it says, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. So the Most High gave Satan the green light and the authority to give man what he wants. Right? And that's why it tells you in the book of Sirach, chapter 20. Right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 20 and verse 9. Right? Let's get this precept. This is Sirach chapter 20 and 9. It reads, there is a sinner that hath good success in evil things, and there is a gain that turneth to loss. There is a gift that shall not profit thee, and there is a gift whose recompense is double. So the Lord said that you have sinners who have good success in evil things. Right? These people that get up on stage and they got the Grammys or the Oscars. It's like the damn Tonys, the Walk of Fame, the Hall of Fame, whatever. Right? Yeah, that's good success. But it's an evil thing. They break the Sabbath day. They drink damn blood. They throwing up illuministic Masonic symbols. They're doing human sacrifices. They're homosexuals. They're getting popped by Amalekites. They're getting all types of damn whatever, man. Yeah, they have good success, but it's an evil thing. Who's giving them the good success? The spiritual demon Satan. He's answering their prayers, right? Because the Most High gave him the authority to do so. Now let's get another count in the book of Daniel. Right? Let's get another account in the book of Daniel, the 10th chapter. Right? Let's get another account. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 10. And it's a beautiful chapter right here. This is a very spiritual chapter. Right? So this is Daniel chapter 10 and verse 2. Right? Daniel 10 and 2. I'll start at 1. Daniel 10 and 1. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, and the thing was true. But the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. Right? And those days I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. So he was fasting for 3 whole days, right? I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in the 24th day of the 1st month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel. Now I'm going to jump down. So he was fasting for 21 days. But check this out. Daniel 10 and 12. So this angel came to him and says, Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. So remember, Daniel was praying and fasting for 3 weeks. The angel told him, the very first day that you began to fast and pray, the Most High sent me to answer your prayer. Right? So why did he have to wait 21 days? If the very first day out of the 21 days the angel was sent to him, how come the angel took so long to come? It's going to tell you why. It reads, Thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. Verse 13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Right? So the Lord sent another spirit down to block that other angel from answering Daniel's prayers. Who's the prince of the kingdom of Persia? That's dealing with the demonic forces led by the spiritual demon Satan. Those are principalities. Right? So the Lord can do that. The Lord doesn't have to answer your prayer. The Lord can send a spirit down there to block your prayer. Right? The angel ready to go down and deliver up your prayer. And the Most High said, hold on, stop him from going up delivering that prayer. Right? That's not going to get heard right now. I'm going to see if this brother's still going to fast, still going to pray. Stop thinking every time you pray, it just goes up to the Most High. Why do you think when you pray for something, you still dealing with the same damn demon? You're still dealing with the so-and-so. You're still dealing with the struggle. You're still dealing with the flesh. Hey, sometimes you got spirits blocking your prayers. You got people praying that your prayers don't get heard. You got people throwing up curses on you, right? Esau hires wizards and warlocks. You got demonic forces. Then you have to wait 21 days. 21 days. So don't expect you. And Daniel was more righteous than us. So don't expect your prayer always to get heard like that. The Most High he don't owe you anything. Right? Now the Lord sent the spirit down to hinder the prayers of Daniel. You know, to hinder that angel from going to reveal unto Daniel a particular vision. Right? That's why you have to pray constantly without ceasing. Constantly without ceasing. You might have prayed twice a day. Both times, damn prayer got shut down. So now you got to pray 4 times, maybe 8 times. You got to keep going because these demons are working overtime. Remember, you got your angel around you. Psalms 34:7 says the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and deliver them. So you got an angel around you. Damn, while you fasting and praying, the angel fighting that damn demon coming to you. Who else is the angel going to fight? It says the angel of the Lord encampeth, and when you encamp, that's war. Encampeth round about them that fear him and deliver them. Who is the angel fighting against? It's not fighting against a mortal mass, fighting against these spirits sent down to attack you, these principalities. Right? And that's happening every day. Even right now, you may just be watching the video, but the Most High is an angel literally fighting against demons trying to take you out. Now, if you're not praying, it means you don't fear the Lord. And the Lord is going to remove that angel from you. And these demons are going to have full access to you, especially if you don't have the armor on. So you think this is spiritual wickedness in high places, you know? So let's move on to the next question. All right, from Itzeli, will Mexico and Canada and Jamaica be, those are specific, right? Will Mexico and Canada and Jamaica be completely destroyed? Right, let's go to the book of Zephaniah. Right, let's go back to Zephaniah. Right, let's go to Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter. All right, so this thing is real, man. Right, Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. It reads, "Therefore wait ye upon me, said the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." So the Lord said, all the earth. Now, we don't know specifically what borders are going to be destroyed and what borders are going to be reserved. But we're led to believe Canada's not going to make it. Right? Jamaica, we don't know, right? But we're led to believe Canada isn't going to make it. Babylon the Great isn't going to make it. But it's not actually played out yet. We'll find out in the wilderness, right? We'll find out. Now, the EU, when you read Revelation chapter 17 and 16, for sake of time, the Lord said that the 10 horns are going to break off from the beast and hate the horn, destroy her. And the 10 horns are going to make war with the Lamb, right? And NATO has Canada involved in it, you know? So they're going to try to fight against Yahweh Shah. So we're led to believe that Canada is going to be destroyed too, because Canada is a part of NATO, is going to fight against the Lord. Let's get that in Revelation chapter 19. Let's prove it. Let's not talk about it. Let's be about it, right? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 13. Revelation 17 and 13. "These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful." See that? So the EU is going to make war against the Lamb. And remember that the European Union's political, it's like their military side is really NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And one of their main mottos is, if you attack one NATO country, you attack all NATO countries. If one NATO country goes to war, all NATO countries are obligated to go to war. Right? So if Canada is involved in World War III, then best believe that they're going to be cut down. Right? From HBKN. Is there a difference between soul and spirit? Right? Let's deal with it. Now, your soul, let's get this precept. Let's just get this precept. There are some times in the Bible where they're used interchangeably, right? And I'll give you a precept, right? I want to go to Genesis chapter 35, right? Sometimes they're used interchangeably, right? This Genesis chapter, let's see, I believe I want 35 and 11. Okay, this Genesis chapter 35 and 18. "And it came to pass as her soul," right? This Rebecca. I mean, it's like your Rachel. "And it came to pass as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Ani, but his father called his name Benjamin," right? So her soul departing, meaning her spirit was leaving her. So sometimes soul and spirit are used interchangeably for your life force, right? Everybody has the spirit in them, right? Let's get this in Thessalonians, right? This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 23. "And the very God of peace sanctify you wholly, and I pray the Most High your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless until the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach." So your soul and your spirit are pretty much used interchangeably. Sometimes your soul is referred to really like a consciousness state, for lack of better terms, and your spirit is what keeps you alive. Like your soul is more so like a life force, for lack of better terms, and your spirit is more so used for, like your spirit can be on fire, but your soul can be on fire too, right? So sometimes, like I said, they use interchangeably. Sometimes you'll see them like in Thessalonians being used set apart before in the same context, right? So we can move on. All right, let's see. How could people conspire against the king and kill him? I'm not sure what you're asking from Itzeli. All right, but from Malakia Hawada, what's the best way to increase in faith and wisdom, seeing that temptation of all sorts will arise? I'm sure demons going crazy. So the best way to increase in faith and wisdom is through prayer and fasting. Right, let's get that in Mark 9. Through prayer, fasting, watching videos, taking the notes, studying, reading. That's how you increase in faith. The Lord said in Romans chapter 10, let me get that first. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Right? So this is Romans chapter 10 and verse 17. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. So to increase in faith, you have to put forth action. You have to pray for more faith, right? You also have to be around the word. You have to watch the videos. You have to go to camp, go to congregate, be constantly embedded in the word. And slowly, the more that you are in the word, the Lord's going to honor that and increase your faith to believe in the promises that are going to come to pass. Combined with also praying and fasting for more faith, right? Let's go to Mark chapter 11. All right, let's go to St. Mark chapter 11 and 23, right? Mark chapter 11 and 23. It reads, I'm going to start at 24. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. See that? So whatever you're praying for, believe you're going to get it, and you will have it. That's thus said the Lord. So if you want anything from the Most High, just knock. That's Matthew 7 and 7 on down. That's faith. That's also wisdom. Now, wisdom's come, the Lord said in James 1 and 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let them ask of the Most High. Right? Let's get that in James 1 and 5. Right? James 1 and 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let them ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So you have to ask of the Most High, because the Most High gives wisdom. Right? Man can't give you wisdom. Man can teach you, but the Most High can have it go in one ear and not the other. Right? Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 6. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. So you have to cry after wisdom. You have to beg for wisdom. And you can't have an evil spirit. The Lord said in Wisdom of Solomon, the first chapter, for unto a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in a body that is subject to sin. So you can't be sitting there praying for wisdom and you being a damn nigga. You smoking blunt, you watching porn, right? You're a fornicator, you're in a strip club, you're getting drunk every day. Wisdom's going to flee you. You're going to have a reprobate mind, right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 4. For unto a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in a body that is subject unto sin. Right? So you can't be in a body that's in slavery under sin. You're always going off. You're always breaking the commandments. You can't keep the Sabbath day, but now you want all of this wisdom. No, she's not going to be around you. She'll leave you and be with a brother that's worthy to receive her, like any woman. And that also comes with prayer and fasting as well. Right? Now, are there, from Itzeli, are there any pictures or painting of our forefathers in the Bible that we can see today? Yeah, you might have to get like a, there's no actual painting, but they have icons, which are depictions of what our fathers may have looked like. You have books like Russian icons. If I was at the school, I could pull up the book that the brother donated. And, you know, it's an expensive book. You know, a mighty brother donated in the camp, and it shows you all of the icons, the dark images of what our fathers may have looked like. But there's no actual picture of Abraham that somebody painted him sacrificing his son. And he said, hold on, hold that pose. And they painted it. Then he passed down to Isaac and Isaac. No, it didn't work like that. Right. So you have icons. Right. But with that, I'm going to close up. Giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Shah. If I didn't get to your question, email it. Hit me up via Instagram. Most High willing you was edified. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Shah. Save your question for the next Q&A. Kwam Yashala. Shalom.